Today's episode of the Outline Podcast is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering a 30-day free trial and 1 credit for an audiobook to the listeners of this show. I highly recommend listening to The Velvet Rage, Overcoming the Pain of Growing Up Gay in a Straight Man's World by Alan Downs, Ph.D. It is a phenomenal listen and read, and I've read it twice in the last decade, and both times great experience. So check that out. You can redeem this audiobook by going to www.audibletrial.com/outlinepod, or you can click the link in the show notes. Let's start the show.
Yeah. The Outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne. Yeah. The Outline. With Kevin Dwayne. The Outline. With Kevin Dwayne. This is the Outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne, with Kevin Dwayne.
Yo, what's up, you guys? This is the Outline Podcast, and I am Kevin Dwayne. I know I sound so over it in that Audible ad in the beginning. I'm not. I'm just recording this in the morning, and I think I just needed some water. But I was re-listening. I was like, God, they're going to think I'm in a mood. I'm totally not. I'm fine. I'm actually really well, actually. I'm in a really good space, and as things continue to unfold, I will reveal more of it, but I'm letting things just kind of be as they are right now. But I'm in a really good space, and I hope you're in a great space as well. Last week, I told you all I was going to Orlando, and I went, and I had an amazing time, just as I thought I would. So Thursday morning, woke up in the morning, and met my friend Rosie and her girlfriend Amber, and we drove up to Orlando. It was such a turned up ass trip. Well, because I was there. I mean, I am a fool. If you've been around me, you all know I'm self-entertained, and you just give me some music and some good conversation, I'm good. In that car, the playlists were flowing. And speaking of playlists, on the way there, I created a new playlist called $200 Titty Top Tracks. You can follow me on Apple Music and get that playlist. It is very lit. I've got new fans because of that playlist. And also, you can check out other playlists that I've made. I do curate songs every now and then, and I take a lot of pride in making these tracks. I don't just put a bunch of songs together. There is a thought process that happens. So check that playlist out, and also check out another playlist that I really love called Technicolor that I created. So listen to that, and you'll get a vibe of the trip, because that playlist was kind of played throughout the weekend. We also, let me just continue. So on the way there, we were turned up. It was fun. Then we got there earlier before our Airbnb was available. We got there about 1 o'clock, 1:30. So we decided to go eat. We found a Yard House in the main touristy area. But, you know, Orlando's all touristy, really, because that's where all the resorts are. But we went to Yard House on International Drive because they had free parking and it was easy to get to. Plus, it had a menu that everyone could eat off of, because, as you guys know, I don't eat animal products. So I'm like, okay, I'm hungry. So we went there. So it was me, Rosie, and Amber. I spoke with Elliot, who's been on the show as well, and they were picking up someone from the airport. So 3 people came and met us at Yard House. We got a bigger table together, and we just had drinks and talked and caught up and talked about how excited we were for the weekend. We were there for about an hour and some change. Well, total, we were there 2 hours when you add the time that me, Rosie, and Amber were there. But then when Elliot and the others got there, it was another hour or so. So we left there, went to a package store to pick up, packages for the house. We pulled up to the resort, and it was interesting because we're like, okay, what's the vibe gonna be? So the Airbnb we stayed in was huge, but it was in a gated community. So we pulled up, and not only was the gate closed, there was the gate was open. I'm sorry. There were cones blocking the entrance on both sides. So we were like, okay, how do we get in here? So we're like, okay, we don't see anyone. So should we just drive around? So Rose like, I'm just going to drive around this cone and just go through the gate. It's open. All of a sudden, this guard comes out. It's a woman, half her hair braided, half of it not. She wasn't on her shit. She was sitting down doing her hair and didn't see us come in. She's like flagging us down like, oh no, you got to come in here first. Now, it was one of those weird exchanges where I hate this about us as Black people. When she saw we were Black, she instantly changed her demeanor, and it was kind of, it was too familiar. That's what I'm going to say. And it was almost rude. It was very much like, we were like, okay, well, there was a cone right there blocking that entrance and a cone right here. What the fuck were we supposed to do? You weren't there. And she's like, you should have just waited and done this. And we're just like, yeah, no, that's not how this works. You should have been outside to greet us, bitch. No, if that's how this is going to go, you should have made it apparent that that's where we're supposed to be. But whatever. So we turned around. And then after she saw that it was 3 of us in the car, I don't know what made her change her mind up, but she got super nice. We're like, okay, you felt an ass whooping coming on. Got it. Cool. So she was like, oh, where you guys coming from? I was like, that's so crazy how she straight up code switched that quick. But okay, whatever. So she ended up telling us all her business. Like, we learned so much about her in that interaction of just getting the driver's ID and giving us a permit and all this shit. And so finally, she gave us a little permit and let us in. I was like, oh, enjoy your trip, blah, blah, blah. So we drive in. Funny thing is, Elliot, and along with another person that was with us who had another car, came in. They didn't have any of those issues. They literally just drove right in with no problem. So I was just like, okay, whatever. So we get to the house. The house is beautiful. I posted it on my story on Instagram. It's probably not up anymore, but maybe I'll add it to my highlights so you can see it. But beautiful home. It was like 7 or 8 bedrooms, and it was perfect because there were 10 of us, but there were let me see, 3 couples on the trip. So it worked out that we all had our own room and bathroom. It was ideal, like so ideal to be in this big ass house with friends, but also have a space where you can have your own privacy. So totally into that. So we got settled, put our bags in our rooms, and then we came down that first night and we just started talking, catching up, drinking, playing music, having a good ass time. There were still 3 more people missing at this point. So when their flight came in, Rosie went and got them, and then it was complete. All 10 of us were there, and that really kicked off the weekend. So that first night, we drank, partied. I went hard. I was up that whole day, so I went hard from 5 a.m. until I went to bed at 12 a.m. But I had full energy the whole time, and I was like, all right, I'm going to bed. And everyone kind of was laughing at me because I went from being super turned up to being super serious to like, all right, I'm going upstairs now. See you all in the morning. And that was that. The next morning, woke up, and honestly, I was like, it's vacation. I started doing the same shit I was doing the night before, drinking and enjoying myself. We all had breakfast together. And then some of us went to the pool. Some of us were reading books. Some of us were just chilling. And then I went a little too hard, I think, because around 3 o'clock, I needed a nap. Like, I was tired from being in the pool and just straight up just being just lit. I went upstairs, laid down until about 5:30, came back downstairs, and everyone's like, oh, you seem like you had a good little nap. I said, I sure the fuck did. It's vacation. They was like, that's what's up. I don't know what happened, but I was talking and catching up with someone, but I came back upstairs to get something. I got right back in the bed and went to sleep again. It wasn't until about 8 o'clock that Elliot came in the room and was like, hey, we want to go out. So we're probably going to get some dinner first and then go out, so you should get dressed and come downstairs since you've been sleeping all this time. You should be rested by now. I'm like, okay. So I got dressed, I came downstairs, and then I was like, okay, I realized that I hadn't eaten. I'm like, okay, I'm really hungry. And then I found out that while I was asleep, they had gone out and eaten, and gotten food. I was like, oh, okay, not tripping on that part because, we're all grown. So, I started kind of looking for like Uber Eats because I didn't have my car with me, which is the hardest thing. I'm like, okay, let me go on Uber Eats and see if I can get something delivered. Or let me see what's nearby because I can just go get something. Or maybe if I have to use someone's car. But they were like, oh, we're going to go eat. So I was like, okay, cool. So, I was cool for a minute. But then time started going by until like 9:30. We're getting closer to 10. I was like, okay, I need to eat. And so at this point, another friend who hasn't been on the show, Daniel, was like, hey, I'll take you to grab something to eat really quick. I was like, okay, cool, perfect. So we went and grabbed some Chipotle because they have some Frita, so it worked out. So I grabbed my burrito, came back, and I was good. But at that point, I had eaten, and it was 10, and I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm going out with you all because I'm not really feeling it. And everyone agreed, like, hey, it's your vacation. Like, do whatever it is that you want to do. I was like, I appreciate that validation because that's exactly what I'm going to do. So they left me in that big ass house. So 9 people left. No, 10 people left because one person came that was in town and she was there with us to go out. So 10 people left. I stayed my ass in that big ass house. All I know is I was watching Knocked Up, and then 30 minutes later, I was knocked the fuck out. Like out, sleep, cold. And in that moment of falling asleep, I knew I made the right decision for me. There's nothing like knowing you did what was right for you because I was so fucking tired. Like, I think it was all the partying the night before and it caught up to my ass. Like, nah, this is 30 plus. Like, ain't none of that just getting up and just doing things and being out. So I slept very well, woke up on Saturday morning feeling like even better than I did on Thursday because now I felt rested again. So I'm like, all right, turn up. So I came downstairs. Everyone was upstairs asleep. Like, I think they got in at like 3, 4 a.m. and some didn't go to sleep until like 6 a.m. So I woke up at like 8. And I'm just downstairs by myself chilling, reading books and I was listening to The Read, listening to my podcast, catching up, sitting by the pool, having some coffee, like enjoying myself. It was no problem. And so then people started trickling down the stairs. So I was asking like, oh, how was last night? They're like, oh, it was super fun. We went to this club that had all these different rooms. There was something for everybody. And the general consensus was that it was a good time and that it was fun. So I was glad everyone else had fun. I had no qualms of missing out. I was like, hey, I saved my money and I slept, so I'm good. So Saturday, it was another, let's have some breakfast. Let's go to the pool. Let's have drinks, let's chill. And then around like 4 o'clock, we decided to go out to eat. So we ended up going to Hot and Juicy Crawfish for a late lunch. And then we were like, after that, let's go to a bar that they had found online. So we drive to this bar, right? This bar was called Hank's. That shit was not the business. We were there maybe 10 minutes because nah. So first of all, it was a cash only bar. We had no idea. When you get there, it's like, oh, there's a 1 drink minimum per hour. We're like, what the fuck? So we get there. One guy has a shirt on that has a Confederate flag on. And this bar is extremely fucking white. Like, extremely white. But it was uncomfortable white to the point, like, we didn't feel like we were welcomed. And you bring in 10 black people of all different colors and creeds and backgrounds into this white-ass bar. Things get a little interesting. So, most of us are uncomfortable. The ladies on the trip There were 3 of them there. They were like, yeah, no, this isn't gonna work for us. They were already like, let's go right now. And then we're just like, okay, what's about to happen? So Elliot and his boyfriend goes to the bar and was like, okay, let's just get shots for everyone and let's kick this off. So we're like, let's just, let's just, have a drink here and then we'll figure something out. What was interesting is while this bar was like major white and creepy, on the television screen they had the little player playing all these pictures of men, muscled men, but it was mostly black men. So I was like, interesting. That's what's on the TV right now. Funny thing is, one of the people on the screen, it was an IG picture of someone that I'm friends with. And I texted him. I said, hey, so I'm at this bar in Orlando and it's called Hank's and they have your picture in their screensaver of sexy men. And he was like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I'm dead serious. He was like, I want to see it. I said, well, it hasn't come back up again, but if it does, I'll certainly try to get a picture of it. But I thought that was so funny. But yeah, I guess they just stealing people's pictures off of Instagram and putting them up there, but whatever. So come to find out, this bar was a cruising bar. A couple of the guys with us walked outside. They're looking for the restroom and they went up. There was a little trail out there. And apparently when you go past the trail, there's people getting fucked and jacking off and shit in the corners. So then it started making sense to me. I was like, okay, cool. This is how they protect the fact that it's a cruising bar. It's a cash only bar. So they don't have any transactions of things actually happening. And then these limits of drinks and stuff like that, they're keeping that overhead going. I said, that makes more sense. It's a cruise bar. Got it. So we definitely were like, let's get the fuck up out of here because this just is not the move. So after that, we left there, went to the gas station because a couple people needed gas and we were trying to figure out the next move. We stopped at another package store because we knew we were going to eventually end up back at the house. So we went to the package store. Then we went to this other bar called the Savoy. The Savoy was a little more spacious, clean, and felt a little more comfortable. But, I mean, it wasn't really popping. Mind you, a key factor that I'm leaving out here, I'm sorry, is it was gay days in Orlando. So it was like a gay weekend. So it's like their pride. So we're kind of looking for action, I guess. But that didn't really happen. The Savoy was very low key. There were people there, but, it wasn't like popping like that. We got the Savoy, but I was actually kind of irritated at this point because my contact in my left eye had dried out completely and I had no fucking solution. So I couldn't see. And it sucked because I didn't want to be blinking, looking crazy. So I'm just looking. I looked normal to everybody else, or my eye was probably red as fuck. Elliot said my eye was red as fuck, but I couldn't see. And so I was irritated by that because I was like, I can't see anything. So people are like, trying to like include me in conversation and I'm trying to have drinks. I'm trying to make the best of it, but I can't because I can't fucking see. So it was frustrating me. So I kind of was ready for it to be over so I can get back to the house and put my glasses on. So we were there like an hour, some change. I had a couple drinks while there. I had a Kentucky Mule. And then we left there, drove home. When I got home, both of my eyes were bloodshot red, like bloodshot red. It was crazy. So took them damn contacts out, put my glasses on. Took a minute to just kind of collect myself and just be happy and relieved, like, God, that's over. Went downstairs and it was our last night in the house. So we decided to go skinny dipping. Some of us went skinny dipping, not all of us, but it was like 4 of us. 3 of us went skinny dipping and it was fun. It was nighttime, whatever. And what happened after that? Yeah, I took my ass upstairs, went to bed, woke up the next day, packed my bag, took a shower, and we got ready to come back home. And yeah, we went out to eat one last time at Uncle Julio's, and me, Rosie, Amber hopped back on the road. It was a great time. It was so much fun. Got back into Atlanta about 8:30. I ran home, I ran home so quickly because I had to see Pose on FX. So Pose is Ryan Murphy's latest show. If you don't know, you need to know. It comes on Sundays at 9:00 p.m. Eastern, and it's about the ballroom scene in the 80s. And I've watched it twice. It is a phenomenal show. If you've seen Paris is Burning, you know how awesome this show is and how close it mirrors Paris is Burning, the documentary. If you haven't seen Paris is Burning, what the fuck? Where do you live? What is wrong with you? That's a part of like required watching next to like Tongues Untied. You know what I mean? Like, these are things you have to, as gay people, like, you need to witness these things. So Pose is just, it was so good. It's so good. And that's really all I can say. What I am excited about is, if you notice in the show, when it starts, they list all of the more popular people first, and that's typical Hollywood because that's how life works. But the more popular people in the show are white. That's Evan Peters, Kate Mara, James Vanderbeek, you know. Then you have Billy Porter, who's black, who's amazing in the show. But when you watch the show, it's actually not about them. And I appreciated that. This show is actually led by people of color. You have Blanca, who is played by MJ Rodriguez. You have Angel, who's played by Enya Moore. You have Damon, who's played by Ryan Jamal Swain. And you have so many other characters, like Candy, played by Angelica Ross. And it's people of color who run it. And then, of course, you know, pray tell, Billy Porter. Billy Porter is everything in the Pose. Like, I love him. I love him so much. He is like the host of the ball. And like, you know, he's the father to everyone. And it's so good. The show, it's amazing because of its authenticity. And it touches on the different scenarios of being gay, especially in this time. You know, you have the how do I say this? I'm at a loss for words right now. So you have the guy next door who really is just gay and he wants to be a dancer, but he's being put out by his parents because, you know, he's gay and they can't, you know, they're too religious and they're too homophobic to see beyond that. And, you know, this is a part of this is during the AIDS epidemic. So everyone's fearing of dying of this disease. So you have that. But then you also have people who are going through sex changes and people who are, you know, dealing with not being able to get employment and being treated like shit by everyone and looking for love and acceptance. Then you have the people. It's so good. It's so good and it's well shot and it's beautiful. And I'm so happy that this show exists. So I've watched it twice. I highly recommend you watch it. It comes on FX. Check it out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think of Pose? I love it. I absolutely love it. Tweet me on The World of Kevin or on the Outline Podcast on Twitter. But love it, love it, love it. It's so good. Not only was Pose good, when I got home, I found out that Love, Simon is now on digital release. So I went ahead and bought that. And I watched that movie as well on Sunday night. I love that movie so much. Like, I'm so happy that we're getting good gay media for once. Stuff that is authentic. You have Moonlight. You have Love, Simon. You have Pose. Call Me By Your Name. Movies that actually get into the depth of who we are as people and not making it so salacious and scandalous and like, ooh, gay. Like, no, we're fucking humans. And I absolutely love this time period we are in. So now that we have a list of things that I feel are required viewing and watching, like Pose, like Call Me By Your Name, like Tongues Untied, Paris is Burning, these are required things. Like, if there was a new person that was 17 or 18 that was like, okay, I'm gay, here I am, I'd be like, this is what you should watch, this is what you should read, check this out. A book that I feel like every gay man should read is The Velvet Rage by Alan Downs, Ph.D. I originally read this book in 2008, so a decade ago, when I was 22. I remember being touched by the book then and being like, oh, this is good. But I decided to reread it on my way back from Orlando. And it's as if I didn't read it the first time. Like, I was triggered so much reading it this time that I was like, damn, did I even read this book in 2008? Like, what the hell? It felt like an entirely new book, but let me tell you what's different. Time, evolution, experience. This book hit me in a completely different way than it did a decade ago. And I was sitting there like, oh my God, this is a very interesting read. So to give you a synopsis, it's a psychologist who pretty much writes this book about the stages of gay men. And there's 3 stages, and the stages have nothing to do with time. It has nothing to do with age. It's just a matter of evolution, personal evolution. So I really need you guys to read this. Use the ad, use the promo code for the outline to get your free audiobook. Listen to it, read it, whatever. I recommend reading it. I really do, because there's so many notes that you want to you'll want to underline, you'll want to highlight, you'll want to save, whatever. Even if you're using an iPad or a Kindle, you'll want to do whatever you can to keep. It's so good. So 3 stages of a gay man. The stage 1 is the stage of shame of just being gay. During this stage, these are the people who are closeted, ultimately. These are the people who are ashamed of feeling like they are flawed, and they do anything in their power not to be found out that they're gay. These are your DL men. These are your closeted men. These are your adolescents. These are the kids who are underage. They're afraid of, losing friends. They're afraid of, we all start in stage 1. We all begin in stage 1. We find out that we are not accepting to the society. Our parents have an issue with it, especially our fathers. This is where we we find out that it's just not accepted and that we're different. And during this time, we're just trying to cope with this. We do whatever we can to keep people from figuring out that we're gay. This goes from playing sports and posturing like stereotypical straight men, having girlfriends that we know we actually don't like, just going through the motions, being super homophobic, because if we can protest loudly, then that'll keep the direction off of us, being super defensive when people know we're gay and try to ease us out of the closet. This is stage 1, and it's because of immense shame. But here's the thing. All the stages deal with shame, but it's all about how we regulate it and how the measures we go to avoid feeling that shame. So stage 1 is that. Once you come out of the closet, you're into stage 2. In my opinion, a lot of gay men in general are stuck in stage 2. Like, stuck in stage 2. Like, once again, you have to read this book to really get all the details of what I mean. I can't give you the entire detail of everything, but a lot of gay men are stuck in stage 2. Stage 2 is when you come out of the closet. However, there's still a feeling of shame deep down inside, where you feel like you're flawed. You feel like you are unlovable. You feel as though you have to overcompensate for being gay, even though you're out and proud and you tell people that you're gay and you're like, this is who I am. There's still a part of you that feels like you have to do things to overcompensate for that shame that you don't want to feel. It's all about avoiding shame. But this digs into so many levels. This is why we're perfectionists as gay men. This is why some of us are really into fashion, or pop aficionados, are really into fitness, want to have the perfect body, want to have the perfect clothing, the perfect car. We have shopping addictions, we have sex addictions, we have all of these things. We're just looking for validation in everything there is. But inside of that validation, we're super sensitive to invalidation. So what happens is the slightest things piss us off and causes us to go over the edge, and that is the velvet rage, that rage inside of us. We're so sensitive to being targeted and to being insulted, even when people aren't even trying to invalidate us. We're just so sensitive to it that we pop off. And this goes into why we do what we do. You know, we want to bed the sexiest man. We want the best body. We only want people with the best bodies. We only want the top of the tier products and services. And it's an overcompensation. And there's so much more to stage 2 that I'm not getting to, but I can't because it's a whole fucking book. You have to read it. Read it. And then when you get tired of stage 2 and when you start evolving, you move into stage 3. And once again, there's no age to this. There's no amount of time. It's just, I know young people who are in stage 3. I know older people in stage 3. It's just, this is the point where you just say, I'm done. Stage 3 is when you no longer need validation. You don't care about your body in a sense of people having sex with you. You don't care about youth in a sense of losing out on having sex or companionship. You start saying, this is my body. This is my life. This is my career. Stage 3 is it is what it is. And I'm getting off of this. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. This is the stage where you just accept, you know, you go for things that you go for your passions. This is what I'm passionate about. This is the joy that I feel when I do this passion. It's all about seeking out authenticity. You are being who you are through and through. It's not posturing. You're not putting on for anybody. You're just being you. Reading this again hit me so hard that I was like, why didn't I catch all of this the first time? And I guess I just wasn't ready. I also was in stage 2 when I read it. But reading this let me know that I'm actually in stage 3. I'm definitely in this space where authenticity is it. You have to be who you are. You have to go for what you want. You have to say how you feel. But also, you have to allow other people to be who they are. You have to stop trying to change people. You have to reduce those judgments. And you have to stop posturing for other people. Now, there are still things. There's still things that you're always going to struggle with because, as we know, no one's ever going to be perfect. We're always going to be flawed. But you have to say it is what it is. But I'm in a place right now where I'm just like, that's where I am. I'm tired of all that comes with stage 2 gay. The feeling like you have to play into the stereotypes of other gay men, of how your body should look, or the music you listen to, or top versus bottom, and how much money you make, and all that shit. Fuck all that. I'm good. I don't want to have to be anybody but myself. And it's been that way for a while now. You guys know, I like to think I'm pretty damn authentic. This is who I am. I say who I am, and this is what I am. I just didn't know that there was an actual definition for it. And that's why I was like, did I read this book? Because this seems new to me now. So I happily accept being a stage 3 gay person. I just want to live my best life. I want it to be authentic. I want to eventually find a companion that is also in stage 3 that I can grow with and live life that's full of passion and doing more yoga, eating great food, traveling, and do things that bring absolute joy. I have wonderful friends. Things are good, and it doesn't involve me being in a club and posturing and pretending to be something that I'm not. And that's not any shade to any people who still do that. If you do, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But we have to get to a place where we stop seeking validation outside of us. We have to validate ourselves, and we have to find authenticity. And I have no space to be something that I am not. I have no space for it whatsoever. So, yeah, I just want to live a life that is pure to me. And I feel like I'm there. But this book really brought that back out. So if you get a chance, read it. I'll have the link in the show notes so you can get it on Audible and Amazon. but it's really good. It's really, really good. If you haven't read it, read it. It almost feels like a gay Bible. I swear to you. It's so good. Also, before I get out of here, make sure you guys listen to The Healing Space with Sensei Raven Ekundayo. I'm saying that wrong. And Brandon Harris William, BHW. I'm on there this week along with George Hill, and we did oh my God, I think it's the fourth installment of Black, Queer, and Unapologetic. And this episode is all about mental health. It's really good. It's available now on Apple Podcasts, on Overcast, SoundCloud, among other things. I'll have a link for that in the show notes as well. But it's a really great conversation about mental health. So make sure you guys check that out. And make sure you subscribe to The Healing Space. It is an amazing podcast. It's all about healing through different topics. And it's a great weekly show to listen to. So make sure you all check that out. As always, subscribe to this show. Follow me on all social media. And share with your friends. Other than that, have a great week, and I will talk to you all next week. Peace out.